Thank you for singing our scripture that we're going to be reading this morning from 1 Corinthians 13, the love chapter. I want to welcome Sam back from his honeymoon. Maggie and him had quite a year, and it's good to have him back, trust me. But he's leaving again in 9 days for quite a trip. Village with Pastor Maggie and Rolling Hills, Sam, and Nema Church with Pastor Zioka are doing a little trip over to Kenya. And I'm really excited for Sam to see the birthing center that we built, the water storage that's there, the clinic. And you can say, hey, that little church that I'm serving halfway across the world has really shared their love with a neat little community there in Nema Village. It's all about the love. 1 Corinthians 13, verses 4 through 8. Love is patient. Love is kind. Love is not envious or boastful or arrogant or rude. It does not insist in its own way. It is not irritable. It keeps no record of wrongs. It does not rejoice in wrongdoing, but rejoices in the truth. It bears all things, believes all things, hopes all things, and endures all things. Love never ends. We're in a sermon series that's titled Our Favorite Scripture. And this is one of our favorite scriptures, and we ask ourselves, well, why is this one of our favorite scriptures? And we read this scripture, you hear it at many, many weddings. You'll also hear this scripture read at many memorial services, our funerals, where we say goodbye to those we love the most, because we think about the lives of certain people that just had this loving effect on us. And we like to start out young people and weddings and marriages with thinking about, okay, here's the ideal about love. How do we go about doing this? But it also speaks to our deep longing for a real, enduring love. Something that we all crave. Who doesn't want to be loved? And to be loved by those whom you love. And this scripture that Paul writes and he talks about, this love is about building our homes, our community, and our churches. It's there as a guiding compass for us. Now, we need to look at the context in which this verse was written to the church there in Greece, in Corinth, modern day Greece. And it's not written like a lot of times, it's not written for a way, everything's great. You all love each other. Rolling Hills, you're doing a great job. Church at Corinth, go, 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 keep loving. No. Paul's writing to a church in deep conflict. The church got going, and in this, Paul writes to a divided church. Is that on the next slide there, the next four little things? Go ahead and pop that up and see if we can see that. Done on? Okay. I'll just tell you about it. It's a conflict with their leaders. So their leaders are not leading. And they're fighting over spiritual gifts. Who's the most spiritual in the church? Who has the best gifts? And status. So if you take poor leadership, fighting over who's got the best gifts, and who's struggling for the status in the church, hey, sign me up. I want to join that group. So they're in conflict. And chapter 13 is not about a sweet little poetry like we read it today, like, oh, that's beautiful. It's written as a correction to get these people back on track again for who they're supposed to be, who they're called to be, what is their mission, what is their purpose. So Paul is saying here, love is not optional, it's the foundation. Love, and you're sitting there thinking, oh, that pastor's genius. Right, love is the foundation for your home. You already know that. Love is the foundation for the church in which you want to worship in. And love is a foundation for our community in which we live. Our schools, our civic groups, love and relationships and friendships, that's what we're looking for. Let's try the next slide and see if that works. Love is about character, okay? So, Paul writes here in 1 Corinthians 13, love is patient and kind. So if I do a little RevTed survey, don't answer this question. How often are you patient and kind? And what is it not? He says love is not envious, it's not boastful, and it's not arrogant or rude. Well, that's me. I'm always patient and kind and loving. And the staff is just laughing and they're leaving right now. This is hard. I mean, Paul is writing it, and it's beautiful poetry, and it's nice, and it's sweet. But I don't want you all leaving here really guilty today. But this is a guidepost of what our church is supposed to be like. And I give Rolling Hills high marks. I really do. I'm not lying to you, because I never lie. And I'm always patient and kind. Oh man, I better get back on track here. Love is not about how we feel, it's about how we act. Now, think about that. And we preach that a lot here at Rolling Hills, in our committees, and it's what we do. You know, you can feel all lovey-dovey and be the honoriest person on the planet. And your little feeling inside doesn't match your actions. And so, what I really want to say, and this is my Harvey Pierce theology. He was raised in a different time and era, and he was a World War II guy. And don't be shocked at this, and don't think I need lots more psychotherapy. But my dad never said, Teddy, I love you. Said it verbally, okay? But he changed the oil in my car. He changed my tires. He paid for my education. My daddy loved me. So if I have a choice of having a daddy that says, hey, I love you all the time, or a daddy that lives it, give me the lives it anytime. My dad was raised by, if you love people and someone, then you live it and you do it. Now, dads, do both, okay? Different era. Love is action. So I say, there it is. Sweet little teddy bear. I had to put that into this silly little PowerPoint. Love bears all things. Now, think about all the stuff you don't want to bear. I mean, I think Paul should have written, love bears most things. Then it gives us some wiggle room. And I like wiggle room. There's no wiggle room here in the Corinthians church. He's saying, folks, if you want to be the church, people need to see your love and your grace and your forgiveness. And then he goes on. He uses all a lot. What's with this guy? It believes all things. It hopes all things. And it endures all things. Okay. Feeling guilty yet? It's not about guilt. It's about a compass that helps us live our life, because this book is our guide for faith and practice. This book is not our God. It's not a perfect book, but without it, we don't have our guide to follow Jesus, to worship. It's our guide for our faith and our practice. And that's how we use it. And this love chapter is one of the good ones, and that's why it's in our favorite sermon series. Now, living up to love. How do we do that? That's the challenge. How do we live up with this? Now, I have a lot of illustrations here, but I want you to beat the Episcopalians to lunch today. So I'm going to slide some of them out, and I was going to talk to fathers specifically, but save that for 2 more weeks on Father's Day. I'll bump that, okay? And then in this section, I had some political things to say, but we're trying to create a safe space in here. So I was going back and forth, and due to time, you get safe space today, okay? Darn, no politics. Love begins with small little choices. Every day, small little choices. And those little choices filter into our family and to strangers. And sometimes we fail. Sometimes, now hear this, I think you'll agree with this. Sometimes we fail those the most that we love the most. Sounds strange? But I think it's true. Those people that we love can see sometimes our dark side and the worst of us. And that's painful. And this love, these little bitty steps, are about forgiveness and humility. And the church, Paul says, must learn love and talk about love so we can do love in our families, in our workplaces, and our school. So this is a place that we gather together, not to feel guilty, not to be beat up, not to have fire insurance and be afraid we're going to hell. That's not what we're doing here. We're looking at this book and saying, how do we love more today in small little ways? I'm not a fire insurance salesman. I'm just not. And the next slide, we end this section, 1 Corinthians 13, with this. These 3 remain: faith, hope, and love. But the greatest of these is love. See, so faith, our hope, and love all go together right here. So Tina Turner, I love Tina Turner. I saw her in concert in Chicago. Man, could she sing. And she's got a song, What's Love Got to Do With It? Right? Remember that? Want to sing it? Donna, where's Donna? Okay, just sing it. Come on, let's go. And the answer to that question, in her smart aleck way, and in a life that she lived full of pain and hurt, as a kid, as a wife, she'd tell you, as she's singing, what's love got to do with it? Everything. And that's what Paul's saying. So if you go back to Paul and say, hey, what's love got to do with it? He would say to the Corinth and to Rolling Hills Church, everything. It's everything. That's some good stuff, isn't it? So this is the end of the sermon. Becoming the love that we can celebrate. This scripture I want you to take from this page and put it in your heart and your mind. You know, it doesn't hurt to memorize some things. Isaiah, our first, fear not because I am with you. And then we said, I can do all things through Christ who strengthens me. Not as a motto, but in the hardest of my times in life, I'm going to make it. And then if you want to put something else in your mind, in your heart, you say faith, hope, and love. And the greatest of these is love. So let that be our guide for you in our church, in our homes, in our community, because the greatest of these is love. And so I stand and I say that often as a failure in that. And this isn't my confession booth. That's just the facts, Jack. And I know some of you want to beat yourselves up about that, and that's not what this is about. When you're lost in the woods, it's great to have a compass and know where true north is located. Okay? And this is true north, to guide us and get us back on track again. And this table behind me is about true north. And that's why in our tradition, in our Christian tradition, the table is opened up to everybody. Because to us, all means all. Because Paul likes to use all. So we do too. And that means it's your call to walk up or to partake in of this table of love. Because as Paul taught the Corinthians how to come to this table, I can get off track here. And that's really fun in Corinthians because they had this status level. I'm off my notes now. I'm just running. No, the Episcopalians are not going to beat us if I tell this story. Paul is out there having communion with these people together, and some of them bring a big lunch and their booze. It's in 1 Corinthians, it really is. And they're partying together for communion. Sounds fun. Some of you say, hey, I want to take part in that. And the other people have no food. None. And the church is meeting together, and Paul goes, what are you people thinking? We're all coming to this table together, and we're supposed to take care of each other and love one another. And on the pews, not just the pastors, if someone's missing, you call them. You check in. You love them. Because us two guys can't do it all. So love means we all come to this table of love together for grace, for forgiveness, for faith, hope, and love. Let's go to the table.